chat.
Yes.
You're here in Belgium.
I am.
Yeah, you are from Chicago?
Chicago, Illinois. I moved to Chicago almost 9 years ago now, and I moved specifically for the scene.
Okay.
Just because I knew a lot of people playing there, and between that and New York, it made a little bit more sense, like at that point in my life.
You're coming from Seattle?
From Seattle, yeah. And I feel like the scene is incredible, and I feel like right away it was incredible. And I think one of the things that's interesting about that city is there's a rich history of like the obvious example is like the AACM of like musicians grouping together to have like the sum be greater than the parts.
Yes.
And so I feel like in Chicago especially there's like a rich history of the scene and people helping each other.
Living in the US, being a musician, how does that go? Because there's not the government supporting people.
I was listening to an interview the other day with Tim Hagens, and he was talking about how in Europe there's a culture of support of the arts.
Yes.
From like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
The wealthy are like, the thing we all learn in music school is like Haydn and the Esterhazy, and in the States there was this kind of, free-for-all, freedom, capitalism, make it on your own kind of thing, and that doesn't translate well when you're a freelance musician,
So coming here, do you feel like a difference in vibe between musicians because there's another way of dealing with money?
There's like a different human element. In the States, I feel like there is a thing, and like I've had friends that like have had some sort of major medical thing happen, and they have to get a job that has health insurance.
Yeah.
But I don't think it like affects the drive, because you come here and like you love this music, like you want to play music the best you can do it with the best people, and that's always true. It doesn't matter,
So a few days ago I went to a concert of Hart.
Yeah.
I was happy to study with him when I was younger.
Yeah.
And one of the things that struck me was his vibe and like being sure about stuff he wanted to do. And he was also asking that from the students. He was sometimes like
deliberate.
Yeah.
I think as like somebody that's like, when I'm around like elder statesmen, like I feel like they had to go through so much in order to just get to play the music, like, and from like the reading the biographies, like talking to people about people that were in these bands, like having those the experiences that they had and the struggles that they had are different from the struggles that like you and I have had learning music. I mean, there's like I just read some biography on Art Blakey where he just like had to play the drums. Like on the gig, he was playing piano, and it was like, no, we already have a piano player. You have to, and this kind of like, it seems so strange because like you think, oh, I need to like go into a room for 14 years and play and transcribe all this stuff, and then I'll be able to play a gig. And then you like, no, like these guys just did it.
Yeah, they started playing.
Yeah, and it was like, I think it's an intensity that like if you didn't have that, it wasn't gonna happen.
No.
And now we just aren't raised that way. We're not in that sort of culture. So, and maybe this is like a broader topic where like, there were, because of like that system, like you had more individualized musicians, like people sounded different. And now it's like, okay, everybody transcribes these 9 solos, and next year you're going to learn. Yeah, exactly. And I think also, like, I mean, we can just, like, as white males, we haven't had the same struggles that a lot of other people have.
No.
And being in Chicago, there's like a definite like race is a hot button issue in the U.S. in general, and for good reason. And I think it's important to discuss. It's important to like understand that like there are certain things that we can't understand.
Yeah.
You know, and we can't. You know, the things that we can do sometimes, or the things that we think we can do to like be supportive, aren't helping. No. You know, and so I feel like the music in general like has such a strong Black American root structure. Like I was talking the other day with a student about like Miles Davis in the 50s and 60s, and how the cultural and political times shaped that music. And like, you know, we can talk about it from like a academic way. And like, okay, you can see in this record he's doing this, and this record he like, because culturally like now it's shifted and Sam Rivers was in the band and blah, you know. But it's different when you're there, like, and to have, you know, police brutality be like, we can't imagine.
Do you feel like there's a different way of dealing with the music or the same cultural heritage of the US here in Europe than it is in Chicago, for example?
Yeah, maybe. Yes, but not as a quality differentiation. Okay. But I feel like there's a different thing if like the music has some sort of element of a culture that someone is like either in or removed from, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
You know, and we all have the same. We have access to all of the same music. You know, like you and I can talk about like 100 albums that we've listened to, and we'll have, you know, so much overlap on that. Yeah. And so like there's that shared experience that like I think makes it easy. That's an observation from the outside because I'm not in that culture, but I've listened to the music for, you know, 30 years. And so I have a perspective on it, but it's different from the perspective on it if you grow up like in the churches of the South of the U.S., you know, and like Coltrane's dad was a preacher. Yeah. Like it makes sense, like when you think about that in context, and it's like, my dad isn't a preacher. I'm not. I don't have Southern Baptist roots. I'm not. I can't. I can understand, and I can relate on some level, and then there's other things that I just can't, you know. And so much of the music is from not the religious thing, but the church and the upbringing and the like struggles that we don't relate to.
So, you know, the music keeps changing with the people playing it.
Yeah.
People interested in it. Yeah. So you get another kind of music. Yeah. In a way.
Yeah. You know, for me, I grew up in Seattle. Like, you know, Nirvana was big. Yeah. Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, like, you know, even still, like, you can go to a coffee shop and it's like, oh, there's the bass player from Pearl Jam. Yeah. Like, wow. Yeah. And like, so that was like important in that like seminal time of development when you're getting into music and you're, you know, I was 13 when Kurt died, or 15 when he died. It's something like this. But that's part of like what, you know, we bring to a music that is improvisational and in the moment is like what we've grown up with and experienced. And so I think that's just what it is. I think,
cool.
You know, and